right, so this is gonna be a rough, quick, full body-ish workout you can do at home. Shouldn't take too much space, should cover most parts of the body, should give you stuff to practice while you go. And let's begin. So the first thing you wanna do, you wanna get a nice warm up, you wanna break a sweat. Some people like jumping jacks. What I like to do is just hop around. I stay on the balls of my feet, I keep my shoulders loose. I let everything relax, let gravity do the work for me. But like I said, stay on the balls of your feet. So I want to warm up my ankles and calves while I do this. Notice my weight shifts as I go. Sometimes I'll hop a couple times on a single leg, sometimes I'll switch back and forth. But what this does is it teaches me to be able to shift my weight in different directions quickly, which in itself is something to know for the sake of footwork. So you can do it as is, you can do it on 2 feet, you can pretend you're jump roping, whatever you like. You can turn it into a calf workout. You can practice angles, you can practice moving forward and back, side to side. You can practice switching your hips. The point is, hop around, get nice and warm. Preferably you do this long enough that you're starting to break a sweat, but we'll keep it short. And once you're feeling good, you relax. Now, I want to loosen up the body, and I want to do it from the top down, focusing on joints. So I'm not so concerned with stretching muscles. If you stretch the joints that the muscles are attached to, then the muscles will kind of relax themselves and you'll be good to go. So we'll start with the head. Nice, loose neck rotations. Don't want to overdo it, you just want to make sure to get that full range of motion. Both directions, of course. Definitely want to be symmetrical. Next is the shoulders. Do big shoulder circles. I like to turn over my palms as I do this. Once again, full range of motion. Other direction. Next, I'm going to roll just my shoulders. Now, this looks like the focus is on the shoulders, but really what you can't see is the focus is on the scapula and the collarbones. So I'm taking this whole quadrant and moving. Other way. This will also help relax your traps. Arms out, and I rotate the ball within the socket. This is good for your shoulder joint itself, and it's also good to relax the fascia into this new range of motion. Here, roll out the wrists. Both directions, of course. Now I want to work on the upper spine. I'm going to do so with a light trunk twist. The goal here to be turning that upper part of my spine nice and loose. Notice that my weight transfers as I go. So my weight's picked up off the leg. That will allow me to rotate a little deeper without putting unnecessary pressure on my knee. Now, lower part of the spine, I settle, a little more grounded on this, and I'm rotating from the hips first. Continuing on with hip turns. So I start small. This is more so for the lower spine than the pelvis itself. Bigger, you can widen your stance, straighten your legs, work your obliques into it. Other way, starting small, getting bigger as you go. Work your whole body into it. here. I'm gonna work the hip socket. So I'm gonna alternate legs. Basically doing a Thai style shin block. Now you can use this to work on balance. You can loosely clean your leg, which will help with kick power. Either way, be aware of the angle of the base leg. So I don't want my knee flaring in. That's not good. Knee stays over the center of the foot. Hip opens. All right, from here, work this hinge joint. I just like to loosely unhinge it and make sure not to hyperextend. I'm just pretending my foot's heavy and the weight of my foot is falling away from the top part of my tibia that opens up space in the joint. Other side. Next, I like to loosen up my foot and my ankle and my toes. So come a little closer. Plant the ball of my foot down and I circle it out. I want to make sure to keep my toes loose as I do this. Go every possible direction with my ankle, move my toes around, being sure to keep my toes as relaxed as possible. Basically, the idea here is to make everything nice and soft and squishy. All right, so now everything's loosened up. I like to continue the warm-up with some ground exercises. These ones are nice if you don't have a mat or you don't have a lot of room to move around. Kind of a lot of bang for the buck. So this is a combination back roll and forward roll. Now traditionally the full back roll, full forward roll, like so. I keep it compact. So I roll back, my head out of the way, touch my feet down, come on back. Touch my feet down, come on back. This way, you can still practice your forward and back roll at home, and you can do so without skinning your knees up on the carpet, which is nice. All right, now similar thing you can do with shrimps. Generally, shrimps are done traveling across the mat. I'm going to do so in place. So turn to one side, plant this foot. This foot is going to be largely unweighted. I push my hip back and extend it. So just back and forth. This way you get to work on your shrimp and the muscles necessary to complete that. You're also working on your bridge power off that base leg, right? Okay. And the next thing, this I would take your time with. I want to be careful. Wrestlers call it a Granby roll. Put one shoulder down, keep my feet low, back. Being sure not to put much stress on your neck, keeping the weight on my shoulders. Like so. All right. Now, that's a lot of the skills you need on the ground. Do one last one before you stand back up. This one will help with the end of your forward roll and also will help with sweeps from the guard. And I just basically end the forward roll and rise up. Switch my feet, and rise up. So this will have a nice smooth finish to your roll. Also allows you to build the hip strength necessary for certain sweeps. For example, hip bump sweeps, like so. Tends to be helpful. All right, now standing up, I had a request for punch combos to work on at home. So I'm gonna show you a punch combo, elbow combo, block combo, all kinds of good stuff, nice and basic. So notice in this case, my left foot's forward, my left hand's forward. This would be an orthodox stance. If you're switched, just reverse everything. So first, I'm gonna call it a 1. I'm gonna step and extend that lead hand. Make sure to cover your shoulder as you do it and roll your knuckles over. That's a 1. Got a 1. This hand retracts, ready to block. And I'm gonna step this rear foot as my hip turns, my shoulders turn, and the 2 comes out. We've got a 1, 2, 1, 2. After the 2, hand retracts, ready to punch, or ready to block rather. I'm gonna step and angle slightly. 3, through a left hook. Got it. Left jab, right cross, left hook. Notice my weight shifting. Weight's even on the jab, weight forward on the cross, weight settles back and slightly sideways on the hook, which will set us up for the 4th punch. This hand comes here, weight comes forward, uppercut, straight up the middle. So we've got jab, cross, hook, uppercut. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this weight transfer is important. If I stick my arm out and hit him, just take it on the chest for now. That doesn't have much impact. It'll have a little bit, but allowing my weight to come through. Obviously, more force is carried. Same thing with the cross, as my weight is forward on this foot, comes through. Now on the hook, although it looks like my weight's settling back, I'm actually shifting sideways. So my weight is forward from that second one, and my weight shifts sideways, allowing pressure to transfer through. Shift forward one more time for that uppercut. All right, now next, I'm gonna work on elbows. This will help with shoulder dexterity, plus elbows are great for self-defense. So hands always blocking. I'm gonna have hands open on this, like I'm combing my hair, right? First, it's gonna be off the back arm. Elbow up, slash them down at 45 degrees. This will be a 1. Nice and loose. Make sure to breathe out. Like so. From here, hand comes up the block, other hand drops, weight's gonna transfer, just like I'm throwing that left hook, to the left side elbow. So we got right slash, left horizontal. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now from here, left hand blocks, weight transfers forward, uppercut elbow. So you got slash, horizontal, uppercut. 1, 2, 3. Next, we've got a spear elbow. So we did a 1, we did a 2, we did a 3. Stays close to block. This hand rises like a high block, and my weight shifts slightly back. But I've got my elbow pointed straight at the target. And extend. All right. The idea here is it can be a block as he throws the hook. Boom, and I'm safe. Got the inside line, and just charge right in. 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. Notice other hands blocking. Now next, would you follow me? I'm gonna do kind of a marching sequence. Now you can do this if you have a room to go back and forth, or you can do it in place. It's a little better with forward momentum, but it'll work either way. So I'm gonna keep these hands up nice and high, and I'm gonna bring my knees up. Now I don't wanna bring my elbows down to my knees and crunch my frame. I wanna stay upright. My elbows are out slightly like I'm saluting, right? And I'm going to step, bring this knee up, knee up, knee up, knee up, and so on. Now, when it's time to go backwards, face the same direction, step back, maintain balance, boom. Now, what I'm learning here is a shin block. So, if he throws a low kick, I'm ready. If he throws a middle kick, I'm ready. If he throws a high kick, I'm ready. Okay? So it's a shin block plus Great hip exercise, great ab exercise. Now, that will become its own set of knees. So this next drill is gonna look very similar. Before, I was here, bringing my knee up to the inside of my elbow. This time, my hands are out in front, like a long guard. And I'm gonna bring my knees up and just slightly in. So it's gonna be going in like so. So why don't you come over here? So we got a long guard, knee up and in. All right, one more time. Now where this comes into play is if you have an opponent in clinch, you've got control of their head, and you're laying knees into the ribs, coming up into the lungs, into the liver, into the spleen. Not good for him. Now, this one will be very similar, but these are spear knees going forward. So once again, I've got the long guard out, and I'm gonna step and allow my base foot to pivot slightly as my knee goes straight up the middle, driven by my hips. Similar idea, but this long spear knee has better defensive implications, so I don't necessarily need to clinch him. But if he were to throw a punch and hit me, oh, that's no good. I can defend with a long knee, right? So this is a great equalizer if someone is a better boxer and they're punching you a whole bunch, boom, right there, okay? Next thing I want to go over, the hip motion is pretty much exactly the same as the knee, but this time I'm going to extend the foot. And instead of pushing the knee, it's going to be the forward foot, like so. So this will be a teep or a push kick. So long guard. This time, you'll notice I'll drop the arm of the kicking leg, guarding with the opposite. So the motion is the same. This time the legs extend. Make sure to maintain balance so I'm not kicking and falling. Control. Control. All right, so all those things, that's gonna warm up your whole body for sure. All very useful tactics. Last thing I wanna finish with is a block sequence. So numbers gonna look like this. So we're on guard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's break this down. 1 and 2 are the same. It's a high block done outwardly. Notice my arm is greater than 90 degrees. Boom, boom. Can be done open hand, ready to grab, closed fist, ready to punch, whatever you like. Boom, 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 boom. You want to be solid in your shoulders and your scapula, nice and framed. This is for defending against hooks and overhands. So throws a punch, throws another punch, stop it before it picks up momentum. Now blocks 2 and 3, hands up, elbow forward, covering my chin with my shoulder, covering my temple with my forearm, ready to spear with this if necessary. This backhand is ready. Fire a punch off, right? Block, 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 block. So that's 3 and 4. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. Now this next one, some people call it a Dracula block. I call it a sneeze block because that's what I do when I sneeze. Perfect for the COVID times, right? So one hand stays high, the other arm comes across, like so. You want your elbow spear pointing in front of your nose, so you're protecting your face as you enter in forward. So that's 5, 6, 5, 6, like so. This is a great block to know for basic self-defense. Not only does it protect me from pretty much any strike, short of an uppercut, it also sets me up to open up and clinch and start doing what I want to do. So we've got 1, 2, we got 3, 4, 5, 6. Now these next 4 are parries. The first one, I'm gonna take my head slightly off the line, staying on balance with my palm, redirect across, either to the outside or inside. This is for straight punches. So it's just a quick redirection. I'm trying to get to a better position, right? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now remember, those are not hard blocks. You're just connecting, redirecting. Now for 9 and 10, similar idea. My hands are up, and I'm just gonna kind of drop the hinge and rotate in the shoulder joint, like so. Like so. Easy answer for straight punches up the middle. No problem, doesn't take much effort at all, and also works well on a lower level with front kicks. So front kick, you don't want that, right? Bat it away, bat it away. You can bat and scoop, transfer, set up for your sweeps, all that good stuff. So I like to do all these things in sequence, like a warm-up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, 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 boom. All your knees, of course, blocks. Boom, boom, boom. Doesn't take much time at all. Takes care of the whole body. Now, a couple things I want to do to help strengthen your muscles before we wrap up. Talk about functional muscles for jiu-jitsu. We need to be able to grab. We need strong necks and strong spines. It means core strength. Legs never hurt either. So we'll start from the top down. Exercises I like for my neck. I like to lay down and I keep my head above the mat. You can add extra weight by resting your arms on your forehead, but just so you can see what's going on. I look forward and look up, and look forward and look up. Notice my head is not touching the mat. Look forward, look up. So on. Next, I keep looking at the ceiling and I go ear to shoulder, back and forth. Now the amount of reps you do, of course, is going to be dependent on you. I would encourage you to not overdo it. Now from here, I'm going to twist, left, right, left, right, left, right, and so on. Next, clockwise circles, counterclockwise circles. Afterwards, be sure to stretch your neck, and rest it, let your head be heavy, and allow it to relax. Now, for shoulders specifically, if you're interested in keeping your hands up for extended periods of time, easy way to do it is to go flat hands and try to keep this plane if possible. I'm going to draw my elbows back, forward, which is 2, 3, and on the 4th one, I go back and extend as far as I can go, and that's 1 rep. 1, 2, 3, 2 reps. 1, 2, 3, 3 reps. Be sure to not let your elbows droop. Keep them nice and high, and draw your scapula back so you can get the full range of motion, like so. You do 30 or more of those, you'll really be feeling it in the shoulders. Now, of course, gotta talk about push-ups. All kinds of different push-ups to do. One that I like for dealing with several different ranges of motion. Be slow on this and take your time, especially if you have a bad shoulder. So I like to go a little wider than shoulder width apart, and rather than the traditional push-up, I kind of like to do circles. So I shift my weight, lower, and up, like so. You can go back and forth. The nice thing about this range of motion is that you work your shoulders, your chest, your back, your triceps all in one go, which is helpful, saves time. Now, you can do a similar exercise for the abs. Bring it up and circle. This is definitely a pain in the butt. Really good exercise. Likely take you some practice. If you want to break it down into different segments, I would recommend starting with the lower abs. Knees slightly bent, back straight, leg lifts alternating between
low level, mid-level, high level. You can always add a little ceiling push there if you like it. Leg lifts are great. Now, for the center abs, my preference is bicycles. So get the same idea as the leg lift here. Elbow to opposite knee. And just like the shin blocks we did, I don't half-ass the leg part. I bring it up and over, trying to keep my spine straight while I do this. Keep my arms open, and I'm rotating my whole torso rather than this kind of crap. I'm extended. I'll work that center vertical line really well. Upper abs, best thing I've seen, just basic crunches. So legs up in the air, really concentrating on the mind-muscle connection. So that'll take care of everything there. Now, when people talk about core work, they're not generally just talking about abs. Lower back's important too, what I like for that. Lay down. Now you can go on your heels, balls of your feet, doesn't matter. It's gonna work your lower back, your glutes, your hamstrings, everything at once. And once I bridge, I alternate my hips side to side, like so. So this is flat-footed. On the heels, a little bit harder. That'll work this entire band right here. Very helpful. Now for the legs, best thing you can do, squats. Now, standard squats, toes are pointed slightly out. My heels are down, knees trace the centers of the feet. Nice straight back, deep squat, and up, right? Everyone knows that. Just make sure you pay attention to what your knees are doing. Don't let this kind of stuff happen, right? If you want to make it a little more challenging, add some plyometric element to it. Launch, lift your knees up high. Like so. Another way, if you want to work your quads more and your calves, feet close together, toes pointed forward, heels off the ground, hips forward, and I sit my butt down, straight to my heels, and straight up. It'll give you different range of contraction. It's pretty nice. Now the last thing I want to do, once you come down close, so I'll be on my dirty feet. So I like to do this as a foot exercise. There actually is some muscle involved, but it's a lot of tiny little subtle muscles that will elude you, but they'll make you tired. So I call this my monkey feet exercise. I stole it from an instructor in the AJGF. So first things first, flex your feet back as far as they can go. Take your time with this. Spread your toes. Now for me, this is very difficult. Other people can do it naturally. If you're having trouble, concentrate on spreading the metatarsals inside your feet. So spread wide, keep it wide as you curl over. Keep that extension of the joint as you expand. Flare your toes once again. Curl your toes back to protrude the ball of your foot, which will help with your kicks. Flex it back one more time and repeat. Just taking the time to concentrate on this element will give you a lot more flexibility in your feet. When I started, I could barely curl my toes. Now it's no problem. I can turn my foot into a C, right? The idea is everything in here, don't think of it as bones, think of it as one giant squishy thing that just happens to have bones inside. Don't let those inhibit you, right? Just work on softening everything safely, of course. You don't want to stress it too much, but you want to allow your muscles to relax into these new positions. So that's about all I've got for you. If you have any questions, please let me know.